Hi viewers, and welcome to another episode of On the Farm, where we're vocal about everything local. I am Shakima Hanley. We continue with our ongoing preparations for Agri-Expo 30. And on this episode, we have more of our interviews from contributors of Agri-Expo over the past 30 years. But before we get into it, we take a short break and be right back after this.
Come, join the celebration. It's Agri-Expo 30.
The lifeblood of our land is agriculture. Planting, securing our island's future. Agro-processing, fishing, beekeeping, poultry rearing, hydroponics, food technology, and also livestock farming. Agriculture on display. Come celebrate with me. Agriculture on display. Come celebrate with me.
Rooted in history, utilizing land and sea. It's Agri-Expo 30 on Thursday, March 26th and Friday, March 27th, 2026 at the El Camino T-Willet Park in Charlestown.
Come celebrate with me. Agriculture on display. Come celebrate with me. Agriculture on display. Come celebrate with me.
Welcome back, viewers. I have my guest joining me today. First, I'm going to ask him to introduce himself.
Thank you, and thanks for having me as well. My name is Alexis Jeffers, and of course, many would recall that at one point I was assigned the Ministry of Agriculture, Lands et al. And so that was something I did and privileged to lead, I must say, for just about 10 years, from 2013 to December of 2022. So I don't think I'm a stranger to anyone who would be viewing this program at a later date. So with nothing else to say, this is me.
Okay, Mr. Jeffers, welcome to On the Fab. So you started by mentioning that you were at the helm of the ministry for a period of time. Were there any other areas in agriculture that you would have ventured into?
Well, the Ministry of Agriculture would have included the Department of Fisheries. Now it's called Marine Resource. So it's agriculture, and of course agriculture includes crop, livestock, fisheries. So those are different areas that require different policies and different actions. So outside of other ministries that were not necessarily connected to agriculture, those were the areas in agriculture that I was definitely connected to. I was privileged to lead at the point in time, since the state of agriculture and fisheries then needed some attention, and we were able to provide the necessary guidance to those in the ministries and department that we oversaw at that time. So I think basically that's what I will say regarding other areas outside of agriculture, like I said, which are ministries that were not connected to agriculture. Of course, the Ministry of Communications, Works, public utilities, and responsibility for NEVLEC, for example. So all those were part of my my general responsibility then as a minister. So
How long was your tenure in the ministry?
In the various ministries?
In Ministry of Agriculture, et al.
Agriculture. Well, from 2013, January of 2013 to December of 2022.
Okay.
So at least that's just over 10 years. What I would say is that, the tenure was one which was also, it also included the ministry and Department of Agriculture on the syndicates, and that's at the federal level. So if we were to say that I was a local minister during that time, and in the interim as well, I became the federal minister of agriculture and also fisheries and marine resources.
All right.
In 2020. So the responsibilities were great in terms of St. Nevis, and Nevis. And so I had a chance to play my role on both ends to push agriculture here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. But most of the years was definitely spent here on the island of Nevis.
All right. So during your tenure on the island of Nevis as Minister of Agriculture, what was your contribution towards the open days of the Agri-Expo of the past?
Well, the contribution was providing guidance to the persons who were the eventual planners and executioners of the event. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I did on a regular basis, pretty much every week, was to meet with my permanent secretary, and the ideas that we would have come up with were then brought to bear on the event. In terms of what I would say was one of the key or one of the most important things that I would have done was to move the event from the villa, which was the place we met it at in 2013. But if I were to backtrack, you would know, and many who would have spoken before me may have said that the event started up at Prospect in 1994, and it outgrew the space there at Prospect. And so when it got to the villa, of course, the same thing happened. In 2022, we decided to move it into the E.T. Willett Park. And so when we decided to move the event from the villa to the E.T. Willett Park, it was as a result of the fact that the event had grown to such a magnitude that the villa was entirely too small. And why it would have grown over the years is because we sought to incorporate or work with and develop that relationship with our stakeholders, farmers, fisher folks, agro processors, and all those who are in the sector. And over the years, we would have seen a renewed interest in the event, and many more persons came on board, both locally and regionally as well. We would have encompassed and also solicited the assistance of our allied agencies, ECA, FAO, CARDI, the Republic of China, Taiwan Technical Mission, University of the West Indies. So all of these stakeholders became involved in what we were doing because they saw from a distance what we were doing and they wanted to be a part of it. But those networking and relationships that were fostered are what would have translated into the event becoming as big as it was then and as it has grown over the years. And so that is why the E.T. Willett Park is the place of choice now. I don't think there's any other ground on Nevis that is large enough to host that event because there's a tremendous amount of space there. So the E.T. Willett Park is the place. And I'm proud that I was a part of the transition from the villa to the E.T. Willett Park, and also developing that network among the various stakeholders so as to ensure that the interest in the event continue to grow. And I want to commend all who were part of the process over the years, especially those who would have been around during my time. Because, of course, if I were to go back to 2013, when we assumed government then and the responsibility was placed on us, it was just a mere month and a half, 2 months before the open day, which is normally the last weekend in March. And so the thinking then was that perhaps we should hold off in 2013 because we had a new government, a new minister, new permanent secretary, and there were, it was somewhat uncertain times as to whether we can pull it off. I can recall Minister Evelyn, who is now the minister, I must say. He was the permanent secretary then, and he said, "Minister, we can do it." And that is all I wanted to hear. And of course we did it. And from there onward, it was up, and away we went. And I want to commend all who bought into it then and all who would have seen us through to where we are today. So I am pleased with the transition that we've made over the years so as to ensure the event continue to grow and all of the stakeholders that we've been associated with are still around today.
Kudos to you and your team for that, especially with the transition from the villa to the place that it's home. It's permanent home, as you said. There's no space around that could actually accommodate such big events anymore. In regards to the year when you started in 2013, do you remember what that open day was like?
Vaguely. I know there was some uneasiness on my part in that first time you're hosting this event. And so from my standpoint, I didn't want it to fail in any way. because that would have been a reflection on myself and the ministry and also the department, all the way down to the various field workers who were putting out the best effort they could. And it's just a matter of the uncertainty at that point in time and the easiness. But, it was, in my opinion, a success and something we could have built on anyway. Being our first, then we know what we were doing at that point in time and what we could have improved on for subsequent years, which we did. So, all in all, I believe that was the point in which, at which we used all of the various factors that we had to deal with so as to ensure that we can, capitalize on what we would have had to do then and moving forward. So the transition from that into the others was certainly a good one based on what we did in 2013. So just the uneasiness at that point in time.
From the previous Agri-Expo that you would have been a part of, is there any aspect of it that you would have liked in particularly, any event, activity that was happening throughout those years that you would have liked?
Well, through the years, let me start by saying, one of the things that has continued to be of interest to me is a relationship that is fostered among the ministry, Department of Agriculture, stakeholders, which are farmers, fisher folks, and allied agencies. That is of paramount interest to me and importance to the overall development and continued progress of the event. And so over the years, those relationships that we were fostered continue to grow, which is important for the overall success of the event. And so if we would have faltered anywhere along the line, then it would have been a reflection on our efforts to grow the sector. And so over the years, I would have seen the event grow from strength to strength because of those foundations that were established. I am pleased up to today that we can look back and say we have done an excellent job in using those relationships to grow the sector. Agriculture have grown over the years here on Nevis and in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And it has grown to the point where I believe many of our stakeholders have been using this sector to provide a reasonable and in some cases a good living income. And that is what the event is supposed to do, and that is to ensure that we are showcasing and promoting the sector to the point where persons come in and persons who are already in the sector are able to grow and expand their business, because it's a business when it's all said and done. And so I am pleased with the role that the Open Day has played in terms of ensuring that we are providing the sustainability in the sector for persons to come in, and those who are in are able to grow further so as to ensure we are continuing to feed ourselves. And let us not kid ourselves at all about this. Agriculture is the most important sector here on the island and in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. It may not appear that way to some because we have had our challenges over the years, but it is something that we cannot just ignore at all.
Definitely.
And so much more effort is needed, there's no doubt. But this particular type of event, this particular Open Day in particular, is important to ensure that you continue to foster relationship and to provide an avenue through which our stakeholders can get ideas, build upon ideas, and also build their business to the point where they're making more money year after year. And so when they come and they start to sell their produce, or they come and they showcase what they have been doing over the past year or past years, that is a phenomenal thing. And that is why this event is so important and is such a key event on the calendar of activities here on the island of Nevis. It's probably one of the biggest outside of what? Culturama?
Definitely.
Or perhaps even
I
one
agree.
day event that is held over at the Mundo track there. It's called what? The Mini Olympics. this is a two-day event, and when you put the numbers together on both days, I would say it's probably the second largest. So we've been moving the event forward, and I am pleased to say that it has certainly played its role in the overall development of the sector and the island of Nevis. So I say kudos to one and all.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Jeffords. And kudos to you too, for also making your great contribution towards the Agri-Expo over the past years. All right, I'm going to give you the opportunity now to hype up the general public, invite them to the 30th anniversary celebration of Agri-Expo happening this year.
Well, I think an excellent job has been done thus far, with the jingle that is out there and some of the information that we are seeing on social media and on the airwaves as well. But I want to extend a huge welcome to all here on Nevis, in the Federation, across on the island of St. Kitts. Come on over. I want those who are listening and who will be viewing this program on social media, even in the neighboring islands, which we've had persons coming from St. Eustatius or Statia. Persons from St. Martin has come as well too. Persons from the Virgin Islands. And as I said, the Virgin Islands, they have a large event there in February. We have attended that, and we have sent and assisted farmers from here on Nevis, like M&T and Thompson, for example, have gone down. So I'm encouraging farmers from St. Croix as well to come on up and be a part of this event. It's not too late. If it's just to come to see what we're doing, it's important to come. But anyone who is viewing and listening, come and be a part of the 30th anniversary. If I may say though, just one bit of disappointment, and I mentioned it to you before we came on. It would have been so nice to see that that pageant, that Farm Queen pageant. We had that in 2004, 2014, and it is normally held every 10 years. But I suppose it is not too late to have it sometime this year, because this year would be still considered the 30th anniversary.
Correct.
So maybe it is something I'm going to hype up the ministry and the department to perhaps get the planning in place so that we can have that Farm Queen pageant and also Calypso show, because that was a huge success back in 2014. So that is where the hype should be also. But I anticipate that the numbers are going to be there for this event. And it will be held, on Thursday the 26th and Friday the 27th of March. So that's in a couple of weeks. So we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to good weather. And of course, we've had some rainfall in recent times.
Blessings.
So that's blessings as well. So the park should be looking, lush when the time comes. And that will be a blessing as well. So it is going to be a phenomenal time, a great time to come out and spend some money, because the farmers will look in, and also all of the other stakeholders who are going to be there exhibiting their stuff, they're going to be looking to make some returns as well. So bring your wallet along and make sure it's heavy when you come, and when you leave, it's a bit lighter, so that at least persons would make some monies for their effort. So I'll be there, and I'm hoping to see every single one of you there. Come on out. It is a major showcase, a major event, and a major part of our calendar, so you can't afford to miss it. And that's coming from me, and I know when I speak, people listen, so I expect to see the numbers there this time, which would be greater than all of the previous events. So this one should be big, should be huge, should be a great one. And you hear all of the adjectives, so I know it's going to be good. And I wish the entire ministry and Department of Agriculture well in their execution of this particular event. It's a major milestone, and I know that the folks at the Agriculture Department who normally spearhead this event and have the experience will put on a show like no other. And I want to wish you well in advance and wish you well throughout those 2 days as well.
Thank you so very much. And we also want to continue to wish you all the very best in your endeavors. And again, thank you for your great contribution and allowing this event to be able to evolve over the years with your contributions that you would have made in the past. Thank you again for joining us on the farm.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Check it out now.
Rooted in history, utilizing land and sea. Agri-Expo 30. Thursday 26th and Friday 27th of March 2026. Welcome back, viewers. I have my next guest joining me today, and first we are going to ask him to introduce himself.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rohan Claxton. I was once a former member of the Agriculture Department in Nevis Island Administration. Started in 1994 as a graduate student from the Regional Educational Program for Animal Health Assistance, RIPAHA, in Guyana, where I attained a diploma in livestock production and management.
All right, Rohan, welcome to On the Farm. First time?
Yes.
We're happy to have you. We always enjoy our first timers. All right. So you say you started in a particular year at the Department of Agriculture. Tell us what positions you held.
When I started in 1994, I was the livestock extension officer attached to the government stock farms, Indian Castle and Madden Stock Farm.
All right. And how long you would have worked with the department? Up until when?
Up until 2022.
2022. All right. So you had a good amount of years working with the Ministry of Agriculture. All right. So during your time working with the Ministry or the Department of Agriculture, what has been your contribution to Open Days?
My very first open day was in 1995 at the Prospect Estate, the Veterinary Livestock Division, where we started showcasing pen construction and the different breeds of animals found on the island. It was a simple setup. We had the livestock section and then the veterinary section showcasing their exotic animals. And on the livestock section, we did the different breeds of sheep, goats, and pigs and cattle on the island.
All right. So during your time working with Open Days, how has the event evolved for you?
Well, you see, every 10 years, it was getting bigger and bigger. So at Prospect, it outgrew its space. Because, we had two sections, the crop section over at the other end, and then the abattoir and the livestock section. And it got bigger over the years. So in 2005, 2006, it was relocated to the villa in Charleston by the high school. And there we had to come up with new ideas. How are we gonna display these animals? So I was the one who instigated building movable pens. So we had one for poultry, one for pigs, sheep and goats, and then one for cattle. So it was designed in such a way that when guys came from station and Sinkits, they wanted to know how we get these things set up. But they didn't know we could have lift them up and just move them and transport them. So we built the first set. They lasted another 10, 15 years. And then when I came back, another 10 years after, we moved to the El Camino Willie Park. I had to design a set of new pens already because the animals that I wanted to showcase were some big breeds of bulls. We had the red Angus, the brown Angus. And those two bulls, two of our best breeding bulls, they were named Carter and OJ. So I felt proud of them, so I wanted to display them. And then we expanded the livestock section. We showcased it at Grove Park. We showcased machinery, how to present chipped grass or forage to animals. We also displayed growing forages in a hydroponic system. Right? When Kelso came on, he brought that idea, and then we were able to focus on dry season management and feeding purposes.
That's very interesting. I know most persons are accustomed for forage to be directly in the ground, but to see that you're able to do it in a hydroponic system, that is different.
Right. Well, you see, nowadays we are challenged. Land is not available as much. So down the road, eventually we'll have to do intensive farming.
Definitely.
And we have to promote growing grass, other forages as a crop, so you can manage the animals throughout a year. I recently just completed a postgrad in animal science with UWI last year. Well, my intent was gauging towards the new talk on the town, the poultry production. So I decided to upgrade myself and maybe offer my services as a consultant in the interim.
Congratulations on your achievement
Thank
that
you.
you just accomplished for sure. And of course, I'm sure that with your expertise, we will definitely be able to capitalize on something like that as well. All right. So during your time being a part of the various Agri-Expos of the past, what has been the most impactful thing for you?
Well, basically, we use the agriculture open day back in time. Now it's called an expo. We use that opportunity to introduce breeds of animals, like we'll raffle different breeds of pigs and goats, and even the cattle we used to raffle. And the whole idea was to get young children involved. A few times, little children, one and their parents raise the animal, and that was a good idea. And to see one of them actually from high school got into goat production. So once that is continued, to stimulate the interest in the young ones. The only thing that the downside of it, you do set up your booths, you have the educational information, but the interest is not there to stay and read. So now we have to develop pamphlets or videos and try to educate the young ones that this is the way to go in the future. We do need animal protein, very, very important. So regardless if you're a vegetarian or what, you still need animal protein because our bodies can't exist without having some sort of protein to help balance our hormones in our system. So you run away from it, the doctor can tell you need to eat piece of liver to get back iron. You may have to use insulin. Insulin comes from pigs. Even down to the lipstick ladies wear comes from the cattle hoof. So we do need livestock in everything we do.
All right. And how has you seen the event impacted the island of Nevis?
Oh, it has grown in leaps and bounds. It was a one-day event 30 years ago.
Yes.
Now it's a 2 day. Some people are asking for a third day.
Yes.
But it's a lot of work.
It is.
It's a lot of work. I mean, livestock section was always the first to go down and the last to take up.
Yes.
You know, and then we have to collect the animals from the farms. And I had the delight of driving tractors in those days and pulling trailers. A lot of hard work. But it has grown. It is our expo where companies have come to show, you know, what they offer in agriculture, whether it's tools, whether it's feed. You know, ECGC came on board many years ago supporting our Agriculture Expo. And as each director had the time, from Mr. Merchant to Mr. Powell to Daly to Mr. Amory to Mr. Evelyn, everyone brought something to the table, new ideas. So you see the different stages that it built up to a grand occasion right now. So on behalf of myself, I would like to say happy 30th anniversary to Agriculture Expo 2026.
And thank you for your contribution over the years. I mean, you for sure would have been one of the vital persons because, as you said, livestock had to be present. Children anticipate coming and seeing animals.
Yes.
And with that being said, what other varieties or breeds you would have had or worked with over the years that would have been showcased there? I know you may mention a bit about the few with cattle, but what about the sheep, goats, and pigs?
Back in the day, we used to showcase the black belly sheep, the zebu cattle, and the Senapole or the red pole. At my last stint with the department, we introduced the red Angus, the brown Angus, and the Senapole, and those were crosses. And we had seen tremendous growth within 6 months. Some bulls were weighing like 650 pounds live weight, which we work out to about 400 pounds carcass. And to see them grow. The other day I passed one for Mr. Yarwood that he bought from me, and he was over 2,000 pounds. To the point that he'll just bend his head and walk through any fence. Nothing could have stopped him. Massive guy. So I am happy of that accomplishment to introduce that breed here. And then the challenge of keeping the Indian Castle Brahman Zebu, that was a challenge. Crossing it with the Senapole, those great results, great marbling. As history has taught us, Mr. Maynard, Eugene Maynard, they call him Bro. As I say, Ratcher bought the estate with him and his co-workers at the time, because they were young fellas in 1960. And they introduced the Brahman Zebu since then. And we never got a chance to change the breed. I wanted to change the breed a bit. We got some AI Brahman breed crosses from Ross University. We wanted to introduce them, but different plans. We had to close the estate. So we moved those two bulls to Maddens and we did some experiment over there, crossing breeding. But the Brahman Zebu here in Nevis, it's worth more than $1 million, the breed alone. Because we have done inbreeding in the sense that every 10 years we change the breeding bull. A cow can breed up to 20 years old. You can get 18 calves from a cow. So as a result of that, we used to disseminate the Zebu to Antigua, Statia, St. Kitts. So it was a breed of preference, right? Because it's fast growth rate. The meat marbling is very good. And then Indian Castle had a brackish water. So every time you taste the meat, it tastes like you already seasoned with the salt in it. But there's some in the wild. They're very dangerous to the point that both at win. And the moment I drop a calf, the temperament was always a challenge. Yeah. So I don't know if we can maintain it as a purebred, but for now I think they're crossing it with the Senapole, the red pole at Madden. So I guess they're getting good results from that program.
All right, so one last question. When you guys have the animals on display at the open day, how do you maintain the animals while they're in a different environment, especially considering, keeping them smelling clean and stuff like that? What is that process like?
Well, the workers will be responsible to feeding, making sure they have water, keep the pens clean, and in an enclosed caption, we always try to select the most docile animal to put on display. We don't want them to be too wild. And they'll be tied inside the pen. In just one or two instances, we might have overnight, the bull might want it to push out and burst the wire. But as the years go on, we develop and reinforce, reinforce the pens so that it would be stable enough to house them and securely protect them from other people. But it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun working in agriculture.
Hearing you talk, I can definitely tell you used to enjoy what you used to do.
Well, part of my study, my final paper was to design a housing, raise sheep and goats in intensive management system where you cut grass, chipped it, mix it with grains, have a balanced ration to get the results. Designing the pen where you have a farrow, or you call a pasteurization pen. Each section has its own function and purpose. So you have a communal area and you have a breeding section with the rams. Rams will be separated, and then you manage the estrus cycle. Put the rams in when you need it, take them back out. So that was part of my thesis, and I took the diploma option. I didn't complete masters, so maybe when I get time, I'll do the masters and see what happens. But
Is
I'm
that too
happy
late
about
to
it.
start?
Yeah, so I have a design, and it's there. I did my research and everything, so it's coming out very well.
All right. But Rohan, now I'm going to give you the opportunity to invite the general public to our 30th anniversary celebration of Agri-Expo for 2026.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we want to invite you to the 2026 Agri-Expo, which will be taking place at the El Comido Willett Park on the
26th,
26th and the 27th of March. Do come out and support, buy local, support local, and have fun. Happy 30th anniversary agriculture.
Thank you so very much, Rohan, for joining us today on the farm. And we wish you all the very best in your endeavors. And thank you again for your massive contribution over the years, not just to Agri-Expo or Open Days, but also to the Department of Agriculture.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
You're most welcome.
Fresh local fruit and vegetables produced for our nourishment. Buy local, eat local.
And there you have it, viewers. Another episode of On the Farm, where we're vocal about everything local. Just to recap this episode, we were able to showcase more of our interviews done with persons that would have contributed significantly for Agri-Expo over the past. Remember, mark your calendars, save the date. Agri-Expo 30th edition staged right here at ETW Park on the 26th and the 27th of March. Don't miss it. Remember, it is going to be grand. I am Shakima Hanley. Until next time, bye.